Good morning, ladies and gents. So back with another Warhaven video. This time around, we're going to be looking at each and every single one of the characters, including the immortal characters. And I'm going to be giving you a bit of a breakdown on each of them and how to play them all. So I have been playing Warhaven for a fair bit of time now. I feel like I've got good grasp of all the characters, and I'm going to go through and kind of detail all of them. Starting off with Blade. Blade is your bog standard sword character. Now this guy is the guy that I believe you do the tutorial with. He is also the first guy that actually comes up on the character selection page as well. This guy wields a two-handed sword. He is very useful at actually knocking people up into the air, where he can then do some damage. He also has a skill where he can actually knock a shield or something like that to a state where they can't actually block, so then you can actually do a fair bit of damage to them. This is the real backbone of the army. You are going to want a couple of blades in each and every single one of your games because they do a fair amount of damage. They have a horizontal swing with their sword. They can do a vertical swing as well, but mainly is the horizontal one that you can be using. And like I said, this guy can do a lot of damage whilst also knocking people up in the air and making sure that people go into that state where they can't actually block anything further. Moving on to Spike. Spike is actually probably my main character, and I absolutely love her gameplay. So this is all about kind of piercing and spear play and stabbing stuff. So there are no kind of swings or anything with her. It is all about kind of jabs and a pierce attack going straight forward. It is quite a difficult cast to play. You do have to really kind of master her movement and her skill set. She's got a couple of different skills. So the first one is the impale, where you can literally launch a really powerful kind of attack. Next is the thrust parry, where you can actually block or parry an attack and then go straight into an impale thrust, which does a huge amount of damage. And then you have finally the 3 attack combo with her spear as well, which again can do a lot of damage very quickly. Again, spear is one of those characters that you will want a couple of these in each of your teams because she is one of the main heavy hitting damage dealers of the team. But if you have someone that knows how to play spear very well, they can turn the tide of the battle very quickly. Warhammer. Warhammer is the biggest damage dealer of the game. Now this guy comes obviously with a massive Warhammer, and he does some very powerful damaging attacks, but because of this he is a little bit of a slower character to play. So first off is Ground Slam, where you can actually put loads of different characters or loads of different enemy heroes into that state where they just can't block anything for a couple of seconds. Very useful in those big kind of matchups against or big team kind of fights. Headbutt is again something similar to Blades, where he actually knocks into someone and causes them to be in that dazed state for a couple of seconds. And with every kind of swing of his hammer, it is very powerful, leading up to Hammer Blow, which is a very damaging wind-up attack which can literally one-shot certain characters and heroes. Very useful character to have, but you only really want one of these in your team. Moving on to Guardian. Guardian is your tank character. This guy comes wielding a massive shield, and he is very useful at blocking off bottlenecks, choke points, and actually clearing enemies off of bridges and stuff like this. He is probably my second kind of character. He is a very useful, very good guy to have in the team. Again, 1 or 2 of these and that will be enough for any team, to be honest, as long as they know how to actually play this guy. So as you just saw, he has a shield barge where he can literally knock stuff as he's running forward. He also has a shield wall skill as well, where he can literally just plonk his shield down and anything going into him is going to get knocked off, and he's only going to suffer a bit of blunt trauma rather than damage. Very useful. He does a lot of damage just with his mace as well. Nothing in comparison to spear or blade, but still he can hand out the punishment as well as take it. He, I believe, has the highest HP pool of any mortal character as well. Hush is your very quick play, agile, stealth, dual blade kind of girl. She can get up behind enemy heroes very quickly, and she can unleash some absolutely damaging and powerful attacks. Again, one or two of these in your team is more than enough, because these are the characters that you want to be going around on the flanks and getting up behind enemy heroes so they can really pump out the damage. Haven't played Hush too much, to be honest. It doesn't really kind of suit my playstyle, but I know that there are some very good Hush players out there who really can turn the tide of battle. Again, you don't want too many of these because they are a little bit squishy. They don't really do too well on the front line, because that is not how they are designed. They are designed to go around the back or go around the flank and really just punish out or dish out the punishment from there, while you've got your front line kind of melee just taking the brunt of it, and while she is sneaking around the back. Very useful character to have. Again, you don't want too many of these in your team. Moving on to Smoke. Smoke is your healer. Healers are very important in this game, and again, they can turn the tide of battle very quickly. Now, a good Smoke character will know when to engage, when not to engage, when to put a smoke clone out so she can actually be ready for the next part of the fight as well. She is very useful as a character. If you have a bit of a healing tendency in games, then you are going to be wanting to main Smoke. Again, you only want one or two of these per kind of team. You don't want too many of these because she does not really do any damage at all. She has a Smoke Blast, which is a attack or skill that can actually knock enemy heroes back, but doesn't really do any damage. Her ultimate can actually catch a very skill dependent kind of skill. It is quite unforgiving, that skill. Her main purpose is healing up the team. Moving on to Bard. Bard is the latest character to come into Warhaven. Literally only been in Warhaven now for a couple of weeks, and he goes around and can buff people's fortitude. He can put out a little bit of damage as well. I've not really kind of played Bard too much, but I do see one or two every single game that I am in, so that just goes to show you do still want one of these in your team as well. He has a couple of damaging skills, but the main part of him is he can actually buff up your team for with like a kind of shields type thing, so they can take a little bit more punishment. Again, he isn't really a sit on the front line and attack kind of guy. He is a support class, and that is how you want to be using him. You don't want any more than 1-2 at a push of these in your team, because you're going to really suffer if you have any more than that. Moving on to the Immortals then. So you have 4 Immortal classes, which are the classes that you can actually spawn into once per game. Starting off with Marta. Marta is your melee hero. She is very powerful indeed. Very quick, very nimble, very agile, but also very damaging, and can suffer and take a lot of punishment as well, while still darting around and slicing stuff up. Her movement set is very similar to Blades, where she does a lot of horizontal swings. She can actually parry and stuff like that as well, and she can actually charge forward with her shield, which does a fair bit of damage as well. She is literally what you want on the front line. So if you are going to be spawning in as Marta, don't be running around trying to hide from stuff. You are literally, your job is literally to stand on the front line, take the punishment, whilst also dishing it out. Marta is probably my main hero, Immortal hero class, and I very much enjoy her. Raven. Raven is your magic user, so she uses the power of crows, birds, and talons, and things like that, and she can dish out a lot of range damage. Now, I have seen some teams actually just get demolished by one single Raven. If you have one person that knows how to play Raven very well, she will literally destroy the whole battlefield full of enemies. Her ranged attacks are very powerful, and they are very damaging. Some can be blocked for less damaging kind of attacks, but as well as she takes people so off guard that the amount of times I have seen a Raven character literally destroy pretty much our whole team is so many times, myself included. I always get caught out. I haven't played her too much, to be honest. I think she's got a fairly steep learning curve, but she is very good to have as an Immortal if you are looking at pumping out a bit of range damage to kind of succeed on the battlefield. Poet is your supporting Immortal. So this guy doesn't do too much damage, but what he can do is actually shield all of the allies around him, which obviously gives them a lot of survivability in terms of frontline kind of fights. And this guy just himself can literally turn the team fight around, because he is such a good supportive kind of hero that actually some of his skills are very, very useful indeed. So not only can he actually shield everybody, but any allies around him that are dead and are in a resurrectable state, this guy can actually resurrect all of the team at once, which is very, very useful in team deathmatches. If you have literally had 4 or 5 people all die right in front of you and then you spawn as Hoet, you can actually resurrect all of them at the same time, which really does turn the tide of battle, especially in team deathmatches. Last but not least, Dark Gaale. Now, this guy is tied for my kind of top use of the Immortals. Depends what map this guy is, or you're playing on, because this guy is a cavalry hero. He is very, very good. He is very, very powerful, and he is very, very damaging if you can get a very decent charge off on him as well. Don't play him in maps that are very kind of close quarters, because you are going to really suffer. His normal attacks are fairly decent and fairly powerful, but it is all about his charge attack. His charge attack, if you can really line it up and get a load of enemy heroes right in front of you ready for that charge attack, he honestly pumps out so much damage and you get so many kills with this guy. It is unreal. You really need to choose a wise time to play him, though. I can't kind of say that enough, because he is really going to suffer in any kind of maps where there's a lot of kind of buildings and things like that he can get stuck on. I'm going to leave the video there though, for just leave you a little bit more gameplay footage in the background here. I hope this whole kind of guide and character guide for Warhaven has cleared up a few things. It's really shown you what each of the character classes are for, weaknesses and strengths and everything like that. As always, go through, play the game. You've got to really give it a good kind of feel to find out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Like, I personally actually never thought I would be playing a tanky class like Guardian, but actually I absolutely love him, and I have spent the time to really learn how to play that character class very, very well. As always, just go through, play as much as you can, and really figure out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. If you want any further guides on Warhaven, please do let me know down below what other guides that you want to see in the future. I hope this guide has helped you all out. Thank you very much for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button, all that lovely fan-tastic stuff, and I hope to catch you out in the world of Warhaven.